Alright, what's up people? Welcome to day 4. Today looks like really windy again. But I'm excited. I'm here for my revenge. And today we're getting the first good round. Let's try to get into the cash. Top 24. Let's go.
Från Järva Discgolfklubb sponsrad av Kasta Plast och Rocket Discs. Kevin Klangebo!
Just like the last round, really strong tailwind on the first hole, but this time I was giving it a bit more power just to make sure to get it around the corner.
Representerar IK Ymer Frisbee sponsrad av...
But no, I still ended up in the same place. Both times I was in this position, I threw great forehands but didn't get the distance right. So this time I was throwing a bit straighter guld just to get a little bit more distance. This was a huge mistake though. The white guld is a bit domier and I like really flat discs for my forehands. So when I threw the domy guld, it actually got stuck in my fingers and I threw it straight OB. Horrible start to the round. And now I had a pretty tricky approach from like 65 meters. Tricky part, the wind. It was swirling around like crazy, but I judged it as a left to right wind. So I thought let's put it on a slightly little hyzer straight towards the basket and it should just push it straight. But I guess I read it wrong and it actually faded out. So I left myself a tester and I had to straddle out so wide that I couldn't even get power from my legs. So I had to just use my arm and then I ended up a little bit short unfortunately. So first hole, double bogey, and I knew I had to get off to a hot start, so this was not the plan. This made things so much more difficult. So here on hole 2, you know what we're throwing, the K3 Göte, but today I really wanted an ace, so I tried to go for it, but I turned it over a little bit too much. Stopped like 5 inches from the pole though, so nice to get a tap-in birdie after that horrible start. And here on hole 3 again, crazy winds, so I didn't want to go for the tomahawk. Went with the Stig again, turned it over a little bit too much though, so I hit this tree on the right side of the fairway. Left myself like 25 meters from the basket. But like I said, I had to get off to a hot start, and after that double bogey, we had to get off to an even crazier streak afterwards. So I had to go for it. And then I had to earn my par. And today on hole 4, we actually had a headwind instead of a tailwind, so I switched to my more overstable guld. Unfortunately ended up a bit too short, but I had the line perfect. So I left myself a C2 putt, right to left headwind. So I thought let's just putt it the normal way, but a little bit softer. But the wind pushed it a lot more than I thought. So I actually missed over the basket and had a long comebacker again. Which thankfully I made in the right side pocket though. And here on hole 5, it's gonna look like I show you the clip from yesterday, because the exact same thing happens today. This time though, I actually push through the woods even further, so I do have the same gap that I had yesterday, but I'm actually a little bit closer to the basket. So it's an easier approach today. I had like 70 meters, so I just wanted to throw my stall out wide. Actually threw it a bit lower than I wanted, so I kind of skipped it up to the basket. But I still got my scramble birdie today as well. And I actually felt some nerves coming up to hole 6 today, because with my 2 birdies on hole 2 and 5, I had climbed back to even par after the double bogey on the first hole. So this was kind of the hole to make or break my round. If I birdie, I fought my way back under par, but if I miss the island, I'm probably gonna be over par again. But thankfully I committed and I threw it pretty much the exact same way I threw it yesterday. So I had pretty much the exact same putt as well. And my only goal today on hole 7 was to hit the gap. So I was thinking so much about lining up my body and where to release the disc that the people around me could probably hear my brain making noises. But I finally did it, barely, but unfortunately I get stuck on a tree late. So I end up with like a 16 meter putt for the birdie. And I gave it a good effort, but unfortunately ended up a bit too low. I still got the par on every single round though. And honestly, if someone offered me 4 pars before the tournament started, I would have taken it. I don't like this hole. But this meant I was first on the tee on hole 8 again. So I didn't get a wind read from my card mates. But yesterday I kind of doubted the wind because it was swirling around so much. So today I was just 100% committing to throwing my Halo Star Destroyer really hard and low and trusting that the wind was going from right to left. And this was such a relief. I was so happy to make the island and even give myself a putt for the birdie. I would have been happy with a par here. And because of what happened yesterday on hole 9, I was kind of scared to throw my forehand, because I knew the right to left wind was not gonna let it drift right. So I actually thought about throwing a big backhand hyzer out around everything, but that felt so risky, so I just committed to the forehand anyways. And just like yesterday, I hit the trees in the OB area on the left side, and this time it didn't just push it out, I actually went through and landed in a perfect position. And with being in position every single round and still not having got the birdie, I just had to get it today. Perfect execution and rewarded with a tap-in birdie. And on hole 10, just like yesterday, pretty strong headwind, so now I knew the line, but I had to throw a not so flippy disc, so I went with the K3 Göte, which is not as flippy as the Svea, and I just laced it. And now we're on a roll. We got 5 of the last 6, and the one we missed was just low on the cage. And we fought back from +2 to -4. So now we just had to keep it going throughout the open part of the course as well, which was pretty windy. And it had been a left-to-right tailwind every other day so far, but today it completely flipped to a right-to-left headwind instead. So my overstable Guld did this. So yeah, I went OB. And when I got up to my lie, the wind switched again, so now I had a tailwind, right to left though. But the weird thing is, that was only on the first part of the throw, because if you look at the banners up by the basket, you can see it's a left to right instead. So I knew my disc was gonna get pushed from right to left on a hyzer, but then when I come in on a hyzer, it's gonna get pushed down. So I kind of hyzer flipped it up to flat to get the distance before it gets pushed down, and I did it so perfectly. Could not have thrown this better. 66 meters left to the basket, so once again going with my Berry X on a backhand, throwing it a bit harder this time though. Left to right wind, so not aiming that wide. And I don't know what happened here, but I guess it just got stuck to my fingers. This was such a bad throw. I couldn't even believe it. So I left myself another C2 putt into a headwind, and I thought this was a good release, but it just dropped. So another really unnecessary double bogey. And after fighting back to -4, I was so bummed out. And like I said, the wind out here was completely opposite of the other days. So now I had a right to left tailwind, which is the perfect wind for this hole. So I just went for a normal backhand instead. Went for a wide hyzer and tried to let the wind just push it up there. But I still ended up a little bit too short. And I stood there for a while trying to figure something out. But then I had to go against every instinct in my body and just lay it up. I do not like to lay up. Here I had a left to right wind, and I did the exact same mistake as on hole 1. I trusted the wind to push the disc straight even when on hyzer, but it hyzered out. Thankfully I hit the rock and rolled into position anyways, but this was just a really sloppy approach. So I still got the par. And because the wind had switched direction, today we had a right to left instead of a left to right on this hole. So I actually threw the Thunderbird instead, and I threw it out really wide and let the wind just push it in. But it didn't push it as much as I thought, so I missed long and right. And I mean, long is the miss on this hole, but I wanted to get it closer. And this clip right here shows you how swirly the winds are. When I throw up the grass the first time, I have a tailwind. Second time, headwind. Third time, right to left. What are you even supposed to do when the wind is that swirly? But I thought I'll give it a half bid. If it lifts, it might go in, but otherwise it's just gonna be low and safe. I don't want to go OB again. So I had to settle for the par. And on hole 14 we had a really helping left to right wind that's just gonna push the disc towards the basket. And then I thought the Lutz was a bit fast and I'm gonna go way too far with it. So I actually threw the Kaxesata instead. And it was on the perfect line, but the wind didn't push it as much as I thought in the beginning. It only pushed it towards the end, so I ended up a bit short instead. And when I got up there, I really wanted to run it, but it felt really risky with the basket on the hill. So I actually asked my father what to do, and he told me just lay up. So I did. And at this point of the round, I started to check scores, and I was still a bit behind the cash line, but people were really struggling on the course. But to give myself the best chance, I told myself I had to birdie out from here. And on hole 15 I actually switched to the node instead, because I was tired of being long and left of the basket. I wanted to just finish straight towards the basket, and if I'm short then I'm gonna have a downhill putt, and I'm much better at putting downhill. Hit the line perfect. If I skipped up there I was gonna be parked, but if I stopped I was gonna get the downhill putt I was after. And I did stop, actually a lot further away than I thought, but it was downhill and I could make my first C2 putt of the round. Hole 16, it was all about committing to the line. Threw my overstable gold again and I hit the gap perfectly. And you always gotta thank the crowd. When we walked up to the green, I was happily surprised to find my disc parked. Now there was just 2 holes left, and if I birdie out, I will probably get into the cash. And this hole has been the easiest one for me throughout the entire tournament. I just throw my overstable node on a slight anhyzer, let it slide up there, get my birdie and move on to the next hole. But like I said, I knew I had to birdie out, so I was kinda nervous at this point. Couldn't really get a good hold of the disc, started overthinking a bit, and then I did this. I just wanted to sink through the ground. So at this point I thought I had destroyed my chances of getting in the cash, but I thought let's just do everything I can, because people above me could still mess up, and people were really struggling on the course today, so it was not impossible. And yes, I tried to throw this in, let's not talk about it. Had to collect my composure for a bit, and I had really weird footing on this putt, so I kinda had to do that Niklas Antila forward leaning putt, and almost missed it low, but yeah, still went in. So with that bogey, I thought the only chance I have to get into the cash is to eagle the last hole. So I wanted to get into as good of a position as possible from the tee. And we had some headwind, so I went with the straight gold instead of the flippy one. Can't do it much better than that. And from here I think I had like 70 meters with a pretty strong left to right wind, so I thought let's put out my stall on a forehand pretty wide to the left and let the wind just push it and give it a chance to go in. And this is where I thought the run was over. I still had a birdie look for the 3rd round in a row though, so let's try to finish on a good note and make this like 9-meter putt. Pretty strong right to left wind, so aiming low right and letting the wind just push it up. But the wind pushed it straight out of my hand, so I actually nicked the tree and I had to tap in for the par. So we finished at -3 once again, but like I said, people were really struggling on the course today, so it was still not impossible to get into the cash. And in the car on the way home, I was sitting and updating scores, and we did actually get into the cash. Last spot, so goal achieved. We cashed at the Swedish Nationals, but it's kind of a anticlimactic way to do it, because I did it because other people didn't play good. I didn't make it because I played good. That's kind of how it feels though, because I knew if I birdied the last 2 holes, I was guaranteed to cash. But yeah, we still did it. But there's a lot to take away from this final round. First hole nerves, that's a real thing. Can't believe I threw that forehand OB. That was so bad. But from that point on, we played really good. Like I said, we got 5 out of 6 holes in a row, and the one we missed was a couple inches low of going in as well. And then on hole 11, I should have thrown my Halo Star Destroyer instead of the gold. I mean, my overstable gold shouldn't be able to flip, but in those crazy winds, yeah. When you're playing safe, play as safe as possible. And then on hole 17, I thought that when it matters most, I become better. So that was kind of shocking to me actually. But we'll take that as a lesson moving on. And now afterwards, det är lätt att vara efterklok, like we say in Swedish. If I didn't go for the eagle on 18 and just got the easy birdie, I would have climbed even more and made a lot more cash. But yeah, all in all, a real roller coaster of emotion kind of tournament. We played some really good golf, and then we made some really bad mistakes. But I kind of proved to everyone, and primarily myself, that I can actually compete on the highest level in Sweden. because I was not even close to happy with my rounds, but I was kind of still up there. I mean, top 25 in a Swedish Nationals, that doesn't sound too bad. Like, all the best players in Sweden are here, but looking at the scores, I know that I could actually have won this thing. But it's all just a learning curve. I take this as experience and will come back even stronger in the next tournament, which is in 2 weeks. But yeah, that's been it. I just really want to thank everyone that's been supporting me. A special thank you to everyone who came out and watched me play. I can't believe people like look at all these cards playing and they choose to watch me. Like that's crazy to me, so that makes it so much more fun to play. And also, big thank you to my personal fan club that came out to support me. My mom, my dad, my little brother, my mother-in-law, my disc golf little brother Noah, and my buddy Sam. So a huge thank you to all of these people. Your support means everything to me. But the biggest of thank you to my wife, who actually came out here all 4 rounds and made this entire project possible by recording every single shot in the entire tournament. So everyone in the comments down below, please give a big thank you to Jennifer for making this possible. I definitely married the right person. And of course, a huge thank you to everyone online sending me nice messages and cheering me on and motivating me to push through, even through the worst rounds. But that's been it for this little project. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. But because you got 4 videos in 4 days, I might actually take the next week off and not upload on Sunday. But we'll see. I haven't decided 100% yet. And I'm not sure what to upload. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you again for your huge support. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below what you want to see next. And don't forget the bell, as always. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.